Welcome to Health Skill Podcast today, a resource to level up your health. I'm Marcel, I'm a yoga teacher, and please welcome today a wonderful and precise instructions. So, I'm sorry. We receive wonderful and precise instructions from her. She's really passionate about Tai Chi and Qigong. I realized that the first time I saw her online and teaching, and this passion, she really embodies this passion. And you can see this when she's speaking. Welcome, Aiping Tai Chi here, aka Shirley. Is that
Thank you
correct?
so much, Marcel. Yeah. So my name is Shirley,
Shirley.
and my students call me Shifu Shirley. So in Chinese, Shifu is like the Chinese equivalent of sensei in
Yeah.
Japanese for martial arts instructors. So that's what my students call me. And we have this Twitch channel that I started in April
Wow.
because we were shut down because of quarantine, and I needed a way to teach to my students
Yeah.
because I couldn't have classes anymore. And I was pondering, how did I want to teach online? Because I'm sure you also, if you're a yoga instructor, you also had to decide how would you teach online, and there's so many options. And I decided to come onto Twitch.
Awesome.
So it's been a really, really interesting journey because I brought along my students who had
Wow.
never heard of Twitch before.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. And I brought them on to Twitch because I chose this as my platform to not only to teach to my existing students, but also to share what Tai Chi and Qigong are all about to a greater audience too. So it's been such a wonderful journey. And then I knew a little bit about Twitch,
Yeah.
just a little bit, because I used to game when I was younger,
Yeah.
and I only knew of it as a gaming community. But then I discovered that there's so many amazing channels, and so many channels that are devoted to health and wellness and mental well-being and art and music and creative outlets.
Yeah.
So it's been a completely amazing experience for me. So I'm so grateful that you're here with these podcasts where you're inviting different health and wellness and fitness instructors to share their practice. So it's great. So thank you so much for having me on and doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here. I just can say the same thing. So the first question is, how did you first start out with Tai Chi and Qigong?
I was very passionate about martial arts in my 20s. So after I graduated college, and actually, if we go back a little bit, I was a chain smoker in my younger days. And I smoked because back then we all did. And my friends and I, we all smoked a lot of cigarettes. And I did that from when I was 17 to when I was 24. And I wanted to quit smoking, and I had always been interested in martial arts. It was one of those things that I was always fascinated with when I was younger. But growing up in a kind of not a very traditional family, but it's still, martial arts wasn't something that I saw within my reality as something that I would do as a girl.
Yeah.
So it was something I was always interested in, but I never really pursued. But then after I was an adult, it was something I wanted to try. So I basically replaced one addiction with another addiction. And I studied martial arts. I had this amazing instructor in New York, and we did a lot of different styles of martial arts. And his background, though, was Kung Fu. and he had a strong kung fu lineage, but we did a little bit of everything. And
Mhm.
I loved it. And then I moved to Connecticut. So I was looking for a instructor. I actually visited every single martial arts school
Wow.
in my surrounding area. I
Mhm.
went to every karate school, every kung fu school, aikido school. I knew I didn't want to do taekwondo, and at that time we didn't really have much Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I did a little bit, but it wasn't really what I wanted to pursue. And then I found Grandmaster Aiping Cheng. She taught wushu, which is a kind of a more acrobatic form of Chinese kung fu, and she also
Mhm.
taught Tai Chi. But being in my 20s, I actually didn't know all that much about Tai Chi myself. Like in my mind, it was something that my grandfather did, it was something that older people did. But I wanted to do wushu. I wanted to do the really cool kicking, flying kicks, like the things that you see in the movies.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to pursue. And then I tore my ACL
Oh.
in my right knee.
Yeah.
So when I was recovering, I switched over to Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it was going to be something that I was just going to do temporarily
Mhm.
until I got back into my physical condition and got my strength back so I could do wushu again. But after I started learning it,
Yeah.
I just completely fell in love with it. And
Yeah.
then I learned about internal martial arts,
Yeah.
how deep it is, and actually how much harder it is to master than external martial arts.
Yeah.
And I just kept going further and further down, and that was almost 20 years ago. So that's my start to Tai Chi, and I
Awesome.
was fortunate to have one of the best masters in the world that teaches it.
Awesome. So
So
great.
that's my start. Yeah.
Yeah. You really can can speak about that so naturally. It's so beautiful. Very cool. So, what is internal martial arts? Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So in martial arts, it's divided between external and internal.
Mhm.
And it's a matter of where are you drawing your power. So external martial arts, you are drawing your power from your muscles. And it is something that you train your strength on the outside. Internal martial arts, you're drawing the power from the inside. So you actually, like, if you think about power in Tai Chi, your power is generated like a whip.
Yeah.
So you draw the power from the ground and you bring it through your body and it emits out of your hands. And like how a whip has that power that has to go through softness out to the end of the whip, that's kind of like how Tai Chi works. And you need to bring your mind, your breath,
Mhm.
and your body's movements all together, connect and move all together as one. So that's internal martial arts that captures the internal power as opposed to the power that comes from your muscles.
Um, let's go a little bit more into when a beginner comes to a Tai Chi and Qigong class. Um, kind of what can he get out of this Tai Chi Qigong class? Like in the first lesson or in the first 3 lessons or so, what can you expect from it?
Yeah, so the typical experience for a brand new beginner coming
Hmm.
in is realizing that it is actually a lot more difficult than it looks and what they think. And the difficulty isn't from the movement. The difficulty is because you have to relax. to do the movement. And people have such a hard time relaxing.
Yeah.
So that is the first experience for the brand new beginner is teaching you what it feels like for your body to actually relax, how to find where the tensions are in your body and let those tension release. People don't know how to relax. So that's why when you get all stressed and you're tense and stressed, when somebody tells you relax, it just makes you so frustrated because if you knew how to relax, then
Yeah.
you wouldn't be stressed and tense, right? So that's what we do. We physically move your body and position your body so that you understand how to relax. So that's
Mhm.
usually the first experience for people. It's like, oh, wow, I've never felt that before. I never knew what it felt like for my shoulders to actually drop down and for my arms to
Mhm.
relax and for me to not have all this tension in my chest and abdomen. So, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. So, next question coming up is, what is authentic Tai Chi?
That's a really good question because that's something that I do say a lot
Yeah.
about what I teach and what our school is about. Um, so And you can also, share with yoga practices because I bet that there's also some similarities in
Mhm.
yoga as well, where, um, you know, for Tai Chi,
Mhm.
people want to learn Tai Chi for its benefits.
Yeah.
They want to learn Tai Chi because they see people being able to move. They call Tai Chi moving meditation.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to move in that way and to be able to have all the health benefits that they hear. There's a ton of research on the health benefits of Tai Chi for a whole range of different things, from your body, like balance and fall prevention and strength, to cardiovascular benefits, to pulmonary benefits, to mental health benefits, immunity boosting. There are all of these clinical studies that show that. So people want that.
Yeah.
Um, but people don't want to learn it for
Yeah.
the martial arts.
Ah.
So there's a lot of Tai Chi instruction that is out there that um, kind of the things that are, what they think is easy to learn and remove the things that are harder to learn and still teach it as Tai Chi. But when you remove the martial arts aspect of it, when you remove the philosophy part of it, there's a whole deep philosophy
Mhm.
to Tai Chi. And if you remove that from it and only teach it as a slow, low impact movement exercise, then it's not authentic anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to say what I do is authentic Tai Chi because it incorporates a lot of the philosophy, which has to be the root of the teaching. Otherwise, what you have is this watered down light version. And then if you don't gain the same benefits that you want to gain, that's the reason why, because you're missing the key ingredients from the practice. So I bet that in yoga there are similarities
Yeah.
to that
Completely.
also.
Completely, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit the same, yes.
Hmm.
But we're coming to that a little bit later in the discussion. Are there ways somebody can hurt themselves with Tai Chi or and Qigong?
Yeah, yeah. So yes, very much so.
Okay.
And it is not because of Tai Chi. So this is where if you do, take lessons with me online, one of the things that I always emphasize is your alignment,
Yeah.
particularly your knee alignment. And this is where I see people injuring themselves the most, and they're blaming Tai Chi or Qigong. Um, but it's not the Tai Chi or Qigong that's the problem. It's your positioning is not correct when you do the movement. So
Mhm.
a lot of people actually do injure themselves doing Tai Chi, especially because there's a lot of movement forward and backward. We have a lot of weight that we put on one leg, and there are rotations, and there's rotations during movement. And if your knee is not in the proper alignment, perpendicular above your toes, and your knees are buckled in while you're trying to move and turn, that's when you can really hurt your knees. So, and that's true for any kind of exercise. A lot of people are doing exercises where their knees aren't in the proper alignment and they complain about knee pain. So, Tai Chi, it is something that shouldn't cause any joint pain if you are in the proper alignment and posture. So that's definitely something that I'm always looking for. And I encourage people, if they're looking for classes, whether it's in-person classes or online classes,
Mhm.
that's the first thing that they should look at in not just the instructors, but also in the other students around who are taking the classes, because that's an indication if the instructor is focused on that point or not. If you see the instructor's knee isn't in the right alignment, and if all the students' knees aren't in the right alignment, then that's something that should trigger a question for you, whether you should
Yeah.
learn from that instructor in that school.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Um, I'm sorry, I forgot a little question in the beginning of our podcast. Mainly, I like to ask you about the difference between Tai Chi and Qigong. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, just
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's probably like the number one question that I get. It's like, what's
Yeah.
the difference between Tai Chi and Qigong? And yeah, what makes it really confusing is that how we pronounce these two words in English
Hmm.
are not really correct.
Yeah.
So um, most people pronounce Tai Chi Tai Chi,
Hmm.
because they see that it's spelled Taichi. So they pronounce it Tai Chi. And then there's Qigong, which is pronounced Qigong. And then they assume that the Qi in Qigong is the Qi that they're pronouncing in Tai Chi. And these are actually two completely separate words. And in actuality, um, it's pronounced Tai Chi. In Chinese, it's Tai Chi. So it's Tai Chi and Qigong. So two different words. Tai
Hmm.
Chi is a philosophy based in in Taoism.
Yeah.
It's the yin yang. So I think a lot of people know the yin yang symbol, that circle with one side black, one side white. It's a swirl. And in the largest part of one color is a little dot of the opposite color. And you have this swirl where it's big and then it goes down into the tail. And then where you have the tail of one is where it goes into the big part of the other. So this is the philosophy of the yin yang. And it is the philosophy of how the world works, how the world is. And the world is a duality
Hmm.
that is opposing each other, seeking balance all the time. And that just exists. And you just have to accept that this is the existence of the world. If there is up, there is down. If there's black, there's white. If there's night, there's day. And we're always trying to find balance between dualities. The opposite always exists, whether you want it to exist or not. You can't just live in one unchanging view of the world. So this is the philosophy that the martial art is based on. So the martial art of Tai Chi is all about listening to how forces interact and how you interact with forces around you, how opposing forces coming at you affect you and how you interact with.
Yeah.
If you fight back to a force that's coming at you, then that causes tension.
Hmm.
If you don't fight back and let that force just redirect it, then you can use that to as a martial art. So that's what Tai Chi is. How do you react to these opposing forces? And you have to relax in order for that to work. So, so that's what Tai Chi is. It, at its root, is a philosophy that the martial art was built off of. Qigong is a different thing. So Qigong is a lot older. Qigong, the term, actually was coined in modern era, and it was coined to um, put around all these exercises that have existed for thousands of years that incorporate breathing, stretching, and movement to improve the functioning of your body's health. So, this is where I think that Qigong and yoga are probably a little bit more similar,
Yeah.
where you're incorporating breathing and movement. All of these exercises actually are using traditional Chinese medicine principles in their movement. In traditional Chinese medicine, you have your internal organs regulated by meridian channels in your body.
Hmm.
There are acupressure points along
Yep.
these meridian channels. And the idea is if the qi in your body can circulate, then it can nourish all of your organs. If your organs are nourished, then they'll be healthy. If your organs are healthy, your body will be healthy and regulated. And then it also incorporates physical exercise so that you have a strong vessel to contain all this good, healthy qi inside. So the goal of qigong is health preservation, increasing the quantity of the qi in your body, improving the circulation of the qi in your body. And then everybody who studies Tai Chi for martial art will also study Qigong because we use Qi to convert into internal power. So we need to have strong Qi in order to be able to convert that into power. So we practice it also to improve the Qi, which helps us become healthier, but also makes our Tai Chi better. So that's the two different practices. I consider them cousins of each other.
Yeah.
There are a lot of overlaps, but then there are differences. And then for people who like don't know anything about Tai Chi and Qigong, the way I explain Qigong is like it's if yoga and Tai Chi had a baby. That's how
Yeah.
I describe Qigong to people who've never done it before. Because I think it has a breathing and stretching
Yeah.
that I see that yoga has, but then it has the motion and the movement that Tai Chi has. But
Yeah.
you're not doing a martial art, so it's not as technical.
Yeah. That's beautifully explained, I think. Um, in the preparation, I had some questions that have been given to me by some viewers of mine. And still, you have answered them right now a little bit. Still, I like
Okay.
to post them again. So maybe you
Yeah.
can just uh, talk a little bit more about it. So you mentioned that Qigong is more like for the inner organs and the flow of the Qi, right? So probably it's about Qigong. So I just posed this question as it was asked to me. How does Tai Chi, Tai Chi, and Qigong affect the inner organs? That's the
Hmm.
question.
Yeah. So for qigong, uh, it is based on traditional Chinese medicine principles. So
Yeah.
if you've ever looked at a book, and for people who don't know anything about traditional Chinese medicine, there's a book that I recommend that I think is wonderful. It's called The Web That Has No Weaver, and it's written by a Westerner. So it's explained in a way that you can understand it. Because some of these books that are written in Chinese and then translated in English, it's really hard to understand. Not translated so well, and these concepts are not really well understood in
Mhm.
Western culture. So
Mhm.
there's some books that I recommend for Western students if they want to learn about Tai Chi or if they want to learn about like traditional Chinese medicine, like that, this A Web That Has No Weaver is a wonderful book. And they also have diagrams right in the middle that shows all the different meridian channels that run in your body. And in traditional Chinese medicine, it's your organs are regulated by channels that run all along your body. So you, in order to help improve the functioning of your liver, so you can exercise your eyes. Your eyes and liver are connected. If you want to improve the functioning of your bladder, then
Mhm.
there's a meridian channel that runs all along the back of your leg. So there's like this great acupressure point right in the back of your knee that can help stimulate your bladder. For your spleen, there's a point that's right under your armpit. So that uses traditional Chinese medicine principles of these meridian channels and different acupressure points. So if you ever go and get acupuncture, that's basically what they're doing. Is that concept is the chi is blocked.
Mhm.
And in order to unblock that chi so it can flow, then they take the needle and put it into certain points to then unblock. But that is a treatment.
Yeah.
It's not a cure, right? So, how do we get that chi to just keep flowing so that the blockages aren't there to begin with? And the qigong exercises are one way to do that. So
Mhm.
we get that chi to flow, and then we learn how to relax. Because when you're tight, then she can't flow. My master says that it's kind of like the way that she describes it is, let's say you have a closed window,
Mhm.
the air can't circulate through a closed window. And that's what it's like if you have a lot of tension in your body, then the chi can't flow. So if you open the window, then that can flow. So that's you learning how to relax your body so that you
Mhm.
can improve that circulation. So all these qigong exercises that we teach, there's an element of the meridian stretches and actually acupressure massage incorporated into the movements.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I just want to give some more information there to kind of start connecting it a little bit to yoga right now already. So, as you were speaking of the meridian and the chi flowing through, I think this can be seen in the yoga a little bit, like the chakras. Probably you
Mm-hmm.
also know them a little bit, that are
Yeah.
connected to the glands of your body, and yeah, they can also kind of like block in the yoga philosophy, and then the energy can't flow through. So there's definitely a similarity there, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Then we have a second question, also from one of my viewer. Like to pose that question also to you, even if probably it's a little bit answered already. Again, why would you recommend trying Tai Chi to new people?
Um, so the my students usually come to me from a couple of different perspectives with different goals. So the older students, they start Tai Chi because they realize that they're starting to lose some strength in their
Hmm.
legs,
Yeah.
that they aren't as healthy
Yeah.
as they would like to be. And they are seeing that retirement is within their near future. And a lot of people, it's very typical that they sacrifice their health to make a lot of money so that they can be able to retire. And then when they retire, they realize that their health and their fitness isn't really good enough to allow them the quality of life that they would like to have in retirement. So it triggers them to want to improve their strength, their flexibility, and find a low impact exercise that they can do. So that's for the people who are a little bit older. But we also have a lot of students who are on the younger spectrum, young professionals in their 20s and 30s, because they are dealing with a level of stress that is unprecedented. So the older generation didn't experience this level of stress in their 20s and 30s that this generation is
Hmm.
experiencing, and that stress is impacting their quality of life. And then that they learn that Tai Chi can help them manage their stress. So a lot of my younger students actually come to take Tai Chi classes because it was recommended by their doctor, because they were dealing with such high stress that was causing them physical health problems.
Hmm.
And so their doctor recommend Tai Chi as a way to help them manage their stress, because in Tai Chi you learn how to relax. Um,
Hmm.
and it's so much harder to relax your mind. It's some people really have a hard time with meditation, and trying to just relax your mind, and they know that they're distressed and they're tense and they need to relax their mind, but they have a really hard time doing it. So in Tai Chi, we teach you how to relax your body, and when you can relax your body and you can slow down your breathing, then that helps you relax your mind.
Yeah.
And then the movements, because it only works if you're relaxed, then it just trains you how to relax. And then that creeps into your daily life too, that people realize, oh, they start relaxing their shoulders just more on their own, that they're not as tense, or they get into a conflict situation, whether it's at work or at home, and their response to that conflict changes. And then if your response to the conflict changes, it also changes how that other person responds to you. So it just winds up becoming a different way of being, different
Yeah.
way of reacting to change and conflict that improves your quality of life. So that's why I think that a lot of people, especially now, and especially the younger people, are more interested in Tai Chi. And I see that in my school too, that it used to just be older people who wanted, who came in to learn. And now we have so many more people in their 20s and early 30s that are coming in
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
learn as well.
Wow. Yeah. Great. So many people from different ages coming together and doing something together. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing actually. I think that it's one of the few um, things that brings so many people together. So in our
Hmm.
school, we have young and old, we have men and women. It's a very even split of men and women.
Yeah.
And we have couples who do it together. We've had a few parent and child that have done it together. So somebody will sign up for their parents, and then they do it together. We and it brings people from all walks of life. So in our school, we have people who are conservative and liberal, and doesn't matter what your politics are, what your personal beliefs are, everybody deals with stress.
Yeah.
Everybody is dealing with stress and physical health problems. So they're able to come together in this practice. And it just is this, really, really wonderful experience where
Yeah.
we're just like all on this journey together.
Yeah. I love this a lot about Tai Chi and Qigong. And in yoga, it's rather a little bit leaning towards women right now, but we're working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was one thing that you have talked about that I want to kind of connect with right now, which is like the mind body connection. And I want to ask you, how is it in your philosophy? Kind of like this concept. I like to explain it how it is in the philosophy that I learned, which is Hindu Shaiva Tantra. That's just the philosophy I learned. And in there, there's like, oh, yeah, you have this mind and the body, and that's one. So we talk about one instead of having the mind disconnected from the body, right? And I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you how it is it in your philosophy?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So in Tai Chi and in Qigong, movement starts in your mind. So intention, and I think that's in yoga also, right? Intention. So in Chinese, the word is yi. Yi is your mind, your intention, and it has to lead the movement. So you bring your mind, your breath, and your body all together. If the mind isn't in the movement, you're not doing the movement. And so you have to be present exactly at this one moment. And that's the mindfulness part of it. You can't attach to the movement that just happened before. You can't focus on the movement that's going to happen next. You have to be completely present in what is experiencing right now and have your entire body be connected at that moment, and then be connected at every moment. So if you're thinking about the mistake you made before, then you're not in this moment. And if you are thinking about where the movement needs to go next, you're not in this movement. So in Tai Chi, it's a martial art. So if your mind is not in this movement and your body is not all connected, your opponent is going to get you to the ground. So your mind has to be connected to this movement. You have to be fully relaxed and connected. So it really trains that mindfulness of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, good. Is yeah, let, still, is this a little bit of yin and yang philosophy, a little bit involved in your answer right now? Because I expected some answer involved with like, oh, yin and yang, and your body is more like maybe towards the yang, and your mind is more towards the yin, or something like that. I expected something like that. Could this be the case or no?
So, um, yin and yang
Mm-hmm.
are in everything,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere.
Okay.
Everything has yin and yang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like separated
Yeah.
where like the mind is yin, the body is yang.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like the yin yang symbol. That's what it represents. That
Mm-hmm.
everything is both yin and yang, and
Yeah.
they change. So like with the mind and body, as long as they are connected, just bringing that mind to connect with your body and being completely aware of what the body is doing and where you are too young or too yin. Like,
Mhm.
so your mind needs to feel that in your body. If you are too far forward or too far back, those are the
Mhm.
things that the mind has to be
Okay,
aware of.
good. Thank you. Thank you so much for your answers. So let's come a little bit back to movement right now, first of all. And let's speak about the differences in Tai Chi and Qigong uh, and yoga. So I will start with that. I kind of like tell you in yoga, we're holding sometimes a position for longer time periods and we're not moving, or we're not moving that much. We try to hold it. We're probably moving a little bit with the arms, but we're holding it. And then we're moving to another position and we're holding it there again. And it's individual, kind of like how you're moving to another position depends on the teacher. So there's no written rules that, oh yeah, you need to move gracefully to another position. However, I'm telling my students that uh, transitioning between the poses is half of yoga. So yeah, and that's kind of like how movement works in yoga. And what I experience also is that we have the hands a lot on the floor. We have the hands a lot of the floor, and I think that's a little bit different in qigong. Could that be?
Yeah, yeah. So, when you hold the hand positions into your positions, what is the reason for holding the position? Is it to develop like the strength and balance, or
It's to get a little bit deeper into the position, to feel your body and to reconnect of how how does it feel, and what can you change to make it feel different. It's kind of getting comfortable into the position and feeling if something opens up suddenly as you're staying a little bit longer in a certain kind of position.
Mm.
It's so we want to root down, we want to feel the ground and connect with our body, and it's kind of like meditation as well. You want to just connect with that position and how it feels.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So in Qigong,
Hmm.
it's a set of choreographed movements that have specific positioning. So like yoga, where you're going into certain specific positions. In qigong, we also have certain specific positions because we have to activate certain areas. Like the heart meridian, it runs
Hmm.
along from like the pinky side of your arm. So if we want to stimulate, we need to bring this edge of the arm up. So if you're doing a movement and you don't bring it up all the way, you're not getting that full impact. So
Yeah.
there's certain things that are technical in that sense of where you move your body, because if you aren't hitting those certain movement positions, then you don't really get that same
Yeah.
benefit. So that's what we're doing in the qigong practice, where we're trying to match the mind with the breath and the movement to do it all together,
Yeah.
where the mind and the breath lead the movement for the body,
Hmm.
and then still getting that cardio exercise in with the constant motion
Yeah.
and movement.
Yeah.
um, Tai Chi is quite different. Tai Chi, just because it's a martial art, and this is where it depends on the instructor.
Mhm.
If the instructor is not focused on teaching it as a martial art, then they're not going to teach it as a martial art.
Yeah.
So that then it's not going to matter as much whether you're doing the movements effectively or not, because your body position also, whether you're in the right position or not, will determine if you have somebody who is applying force to you.
Mhm.
um, your body position will really impact whether you can redirect that force or not. So, that's where we wind up becoming a lot more technical
Mhm.
about, how do you relax? The difference between um, having your arm here
Mhm.
versus here um, is a world of difference.
Yeah.
If you're doing a movement where we're doing this movement where here, parting the wild horse's mane, and you're up here with your shoulder up and your arm up, then you've basically given away this arm. Like if I see somebody whose arm is up here, I'm taking that arm. Like that arm is mine to control. That elbow is up for me to
Yeah.
lift up, and then I can control your arm. But if you sink your shoulder down, sink your elbow down, right, then you've allowed gravity to become your best friend. That weight is down. Um, I have to work too hard to get that
Mhm.
arm, right?
Yeah.
So there is a like difference, these subtle differences. Your wrist, whether your wrist position, all of these little things, because there are application reasons for it. So it becomes more technical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. 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 Let's go a little bit more towards meditation. So in yoga, there are different styles of meditation practiced and taught. It depends also on the teacher. So one teacher might teach a body scan. Probably you know that.
Mhm.
And another teacher might do yoga nidra, which is kind of like lying on the floor and sleep, almost like sleeping meditation, almost like that. So, and again, this moving meditation, this comes also in kind of routines that you're doing. So we're not just always fixed in place. We're also doing routines with the breath. That's also
Mhm.
involved, but we usually go to the floor. And yeah, I wonder how it's like in Tai Chi and Qigong, if that's different, if that's similar or different, because I think it's rather a lot, really similar here.
I think so. So in our Qigong meditation and in our Tai Chi meditation, the most common is standing tree pose meditation, Zhenzuang.
Uh-huh.
And you are like envisioning that your body is a tree. And for Tai Chi, this is critical training because if you want to study it for martial art, you have to learn how to root yourself down. Basically, you're rooted. So if somebody tries to pick you up, they can't pick you up because your root is all the way down into the ground. And it requires you to learn how to tuck your pelvis under, flatten your back. So there's a straight line energy from the top of your head down through your torso. There are 2 points, the Hui point on the top of your head, the Huiying point at your perineum. These 2 points need to form a straight line.
Yeah.
In order for these 2 points to form a straight line, your pelvis needs to tilt under. Your lower back has to be flat. Your body has to be down. And there's a straight line energy all the way down into your feet. So in standing tree pose meditation, this is our training. While we do it, we're strengthening up our, because if you stay down and rooted, you're doing weight training and weight bearing exercise for your legs. So you're strengthening up your legs. And we do body scans so
Mm-hmm.
that you're learning how to relax every part of your body. So for us, the goal is to improve the flow of qi. So when we can relax our body into this particular position, with this posture,
Mm-hmm.
then you start feeling that chi flow. Chi, it's this esoteric term that a lot of people don't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the more modern uh, translations of what chi is, the modern descriptions, it's your body's bioelectricity. And so it was always described as life energy. But now the more modern explanation of it is your body's bioelectricity. When it circulates and flows, uh, you have this very, very strong feeling in your body of energy. You can feel it's almost electric. So most people, when they feel it, it's a warmth pulsation. And I've done some
Mm-hmm.
exercises where I have people feel the chi in their hands, and you can feel this magnetism
Yeah.
when you have the chi in your hands. You can pull it apart and bring it together and just feel it's like the same poles of a magnet.
Yeah.
You can like really feel that when it circulates in your body. A lot of people feel a pulsation, but once you get to the next level of the practice where you really get it to flow, you feel electricity, and you feel it all over. So that's what we're trying to increase and improve when we do our meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything else is a side benefit.
Yeah.
So our goal
Yeah.
is to have that chi to flow. When
Mm-hmm.
that chi flows, then that means that your body's relaxed. When your body's relaxed, you can, breathe more slowly. Your mind will relax, and then, all of that kind of comes along for the ride.
Yeah. I see that. I like that it has like a goal aspect to it. In yoga, I don't think there's a goal aspect towards like meditation. I think it's more like doing meditation for the sake of meditation. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I liked and respected a lot that it has this goal aspect to it.
Yeah, but
Mm.
so a lot of people wind up actually trying to attain that goal to the point where it actually makes them stop being able to get that goal because they want it too much.
Yeah.
So that's also the training is you just have to let it happen.
Yeah.
So the most common experience for people who start feeling that chi flow is like, oh my God, that's so cool. This happened. It's so cool. And then it doesn't happen again because they keep looking for it. They keep like trying to grasp it. And then it doesn't come because they're not actually just relaxed and aware and mindful anymore. Their mind is now trying to go and achieve. So it's also the practice of teaching yourself to let go. So it's a big challenge for people who are so used to being successful.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of students who are really, really successful in their careers, very, very smart, brilliant professionals who are
Mhm.
successful in their careers. And they find that this is the hardest thing that they've ever done because they have to just stop trying to achieve. They have to just let
Yeah.
it go and let it happen.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's also a great thing for you to practice because you need to learn how to stop trying to control everything. If you try to control, it's not going to happen. It actually gets in the way of your progress. You
Mhm.
have to just let it go and stop trying to control and let the body move itself.
There's one more thing I like to ask you also about the difference to yoga. As I first came into yoga, I really saw, wow, this is a space where I can be myself. This is a space where it's not competitive. And I really loved that. And I wanted to ask you, is that true also for Tai Chi and Qigong?
So, well, I did do it competitively.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it competitively. So Tai Chi is actually a part of Wushu, Chinese martial arts. So we do compete in it. So I used to compete both nationally and internationally,
Mm-hmm.
and like that. When you compete, and you know, my master, she was the head coach of the Zhejiang professional wushu team. So she trained us at a very, very high level as athletes. You know, and the competition aspect of it is not about the competition of you and other people. It's really you working hard to improve yourself. You know, so that was the value of competitions for us, is when you know that you need to compete. Your spirit lifts, your focus increases,
Mm-hmm.
your drive to train increases. And when you have all of those things that come together, then just the quality of what you're doing improves. That's true for whatever it is that you do. Whenever you do any endeavor, if your spirit increases, your focus increases, and you train and practice harder, you're going to improve.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our drive. We don't compete anymore. So as a school, we've moved away from competitions and focus more on doing it for just personal well-being.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there are a lot of people who have a hard time trying to not compare to the person. So why is Tai Chi an internal martial art? You have to listen to the limits of your own body. So when you see Tai Chi being done, so me as an instructor, the movement that I do, you as a student, you're not there to match my external shape. What you're there to do is match my internal alignment. So my stance will be bigger. You have to listen to the limits of your own body. If you don't have that same strength and flexibility, your stance will be smaller. Your positioning will be higher, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
actually try to match my external shape, then your internal alignment will be off.
Ah,
No,
yeah.
so that's you know, the thing that's really hard is people want to um, do more than they are physically capable of doing, and you have to swallow your ego and realize the limits of your own ability and listen to what you can actually do, and
Yeah.
and not just try to do what you want to do. So that's actually a really, I think, growth
Yeah.
process for people.
Realizing this makes you really, really strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a great benefit. It's actually been, honestly, Tai Chi has been the most ego bruising experience I have ever done,
Yeah.
but it's helped me grow so much just as a
Yeah.
person, you know, in more than just in my Tai Chi practice, but just in life in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have one more question. Do you use your voice in Tai Chi, like by by connecting to your voice, like in certain movements, maybe, or how do you use your voice in Tai Chi Qigong?
I think that for me, the connection in my voice is in meditation,
Yeah.
more than anything else, because I do guided meditation. And a lot of people who struggle with meditation, they find it useful to have the voice guided meditation where I talk through what to visualize and where to relax.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that, you know, that's helpful.
Yeah. So there's nothing to do with kind of the students using their voice, kind of like saying a mantra, like it's done in yoga.
No, so there are some qigong practices where you do use sound
Yeah.
as part of the movement. So during certain movements, you say a certain
Ah,
sound. So there are some qigong
okay.
that does that. Mhm.
If you have any further questions, we will be available a little bit in the Discord right after you people here, right? Your friends in the chat. And thank you so much for your time, Shirley.
Oh, thank
And
you so much for having me. This is great. Like,
I,
I love talking about this. I can talk about this all day.
yeah, it's so great to learn from you and to talk with each other. Next week we have Men in Yoga and Yoga in General together with Yoga Ahana. This was Health Skills Podcast. Join in live next week at www.moment.yoga/twitch, and we are leveling up your health skill.